Hello, folks. Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. My name is Brad, and today we're going over my favorite retools. Now, retools got a funny definitions on how these things are going to work, right? I mean, some things can be interpreted as rebuilds, but to me, a retool is a team. So a rebuild, in my opinion, goes and also this is based on what Ken Holland said as well. A rebuild takes 5 to 8 years, sometimes 10 years to do a proper rebuild. I mean, 5 is a quick turnaround. We're seeing that with the Red Wings right now. The real rebuild really started when Eisman came in. It kind of happened a couple years before, but that's a rebuild, right? So I always see that the new general manager came in, Steve Eisman, in 2019. So to me, they're in year six. Six. I mean, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24. So they're in the 6th year of the rebuild. So they're just, to me, they're not even going to be out of the rebuild until like the 7th or 8th year, personally. But I think I've been trying to speed it up by getting some UFAs. But we're talking about teams that are going to retool instead. And the difference is, as a retool, is you're not doing the 5 to 8 year plan, potentially 10 years. You're trying to do this in like 1 to 3 or 4 years. You're trying to get this a little quicker because you have some established pieces, okay? But there's some of the pieces that you need. They're not good enough, so you have to finagle. You're finding UFAs. You're either trading out, you're buying out guys, trying to change some culture. And we got a couple of those where, one, they did a huge culture change. Two, one, they went out and get massive free agencies. One are making huge trades and to try and support the current roster. Other ones are tearing it down pretty good, but still have some of those remaining pieces. And some are making some crazy moves. And then we're going to do, at the end, we are going to do a comparison of two retools that are going on right now in the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals, and the pros and cons of both of those. I think you can guess which one is doing way better than the other one. But we will be going over that. But first, I'm going to go for the first. First, I got four teams before we go through the Washington and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So let's rip through these. So we're going to first off start off with the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators did a lot of big things. One thing that they did, transaction they ended up doing in the summer. Was it? Which summer was it? It would have been last year. No, not last year. The year before. One thing that they did that I thought was really good was they ended up buying out Matthew Duchene. Now, mind you, he was making $9 million, I believe it was. So $9 million, and they ended up buying him out, which was a huge culture shock because you have a guy that's been around there for that long, and again making $9 million. That is a huge chunk of change. Right? I mean, it's no small feat that you do that, right? So doing something huge like that and buying him out is a real culture shift because you have to recognize that you're going to be moving a guy out that's been there for so long. And he's a huge part of your culture, right? So, and you're saying, okay, it's going to be financially more beneficial to buy this guy out and take on the dead cap and not have a player and use up that cap space and be able to make moves with that. So, and then mind you, they also had a pretty good RFA in Tanner Jeannot. The Tanner Jeannot trade was a huge trade as well. Going over it. Actually, I do want to go back. One thing we're doing a couple of culture shifts here, right? So one thing they did is they ended up acquiring Ryan McDonagh on a cap dump, right? Sending out Philippe Myers and Grant Mishmash. Mind you, he ended up being traded back to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But they're also sending out guys like Luke Cunnin. Nino Niederreiter was traded for a second round pick. Tanner Jeannot was traded for, mind you, a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth round pick, all various years. Most of those in 2023. With a first round pick, by the way, this happened in 2023 that they traded him, and he still have a Tampa Bay Lightning 2025 pick, which honestly is just nuts. So you're moving out big players like that. You're trading out Matthias Ekholm as well, getting a first round pick out of that. Also Reed Schaefer and a fourth round pick, as well as sending out Tyson Barrie. You're trading out Mikael Granlund. I mean, there's like this is 2023 now. But you're making huge moves, and these are guys that have been around with the organization for a while. Mind you, Granlund came from Minnesota, I believe it was. And again, you're changing over the guard of this team, right? You're trying to find fresh blood, and that's what I kind of like. I like that about it, right? And you're taking on you end up trading Ryan Johansson, right? You say, hey, Ryan Johansson makes $8 million a year, and you're like, Here, Avs, you can have him at half retained. Just have him, and we get back Alex Galchenyuk, who was an AHLer at that time, and ended up losing his contract as well. Which is just crazy. It's just crazy to me. Like it's honestly, it's wild. And Barry Trotz, some of this is Barry Trotz, some of it's not. But it makes sense in some of the things that they're doing. Mind you, moving out Yakov Trenin, right, to the Avs as well. They acquired Anthony Bolivier cheap, right? They acquired Jason Zucker, making some small moves here. Sending out Denis Gurianov. I mean, again, sending back Ryan McDonough. Also picking up Andrew Gibson. Again, these are sort of the moves we're starting to make, and I like this. And mind you, these are just the trades aspect of it, right? And rebuilding some of that, like the prospect pool with Andrew Gibson, buying out Duchesne, who again taking on that dead cap and everything. Let's see, how long is that? It's going to be, I believe, because their dead cap's going to be for a bit, because he didn't have that long. I only think he had like 1 year left. Oh my god, they have so many. They got 11. By the way, this is crazy. By the way, mind you, all the signings that the Nashville Predators bought this past summer. They got Matthias Ekholm for $250,000, not bad. Kyle Turris for $2 million for the next 4 years, crazy. Ryan Johansson for $4 million this year, and then Matt Duchesne for 5.5 this year and 6.5 next year. They have almost $12 million, $11.8 million. It's 13.4% of their cap in just buyouts and retained salary. So again, you're buying these players out, you're moving them because you're like, hey, we need a fresh culture start, right? I mean, I don't know if it was Ekholm was the problem, but I know he was definitely a valuable asset. They were able to get a first round pick plus a first round prospect for him. So you're retaining on Ryan Johansson. You're buying out Matt Duchesne. And I think with the Ryan Johansson thing, I think there might be something with them getting some money back. But again, you're cap strapping yourself by $11.8 million to change the culture of your team. Mind you, next year that drops down to 8.8, so you get $3 million savings, but it's still a ton of money. It's still so much money. And mind you, they didn't go cheap this past year. Going out at the trade at the free agency, the National Predators. Actually, who else did they trade? Oh, sorry, I didn't even finish yet. Actually, well, let's jump. Let's jump as well. Actually, so the National Predators also after free agency wanted to move some cap space. They ended up trading Cody Glass. And then also we have the Yaroslav Askarov trade. Picking up a first round pick from the San Jose Sharks, could be Vegas's or San Jose's. David Edstrom, a first round prospect from Vegas Golden Knights. By the way, he's second time he's been traded since he was drafted in 2023, which is hilarious. And then Magnus Krona, because Nashville just cranks out goalie prospects. So you have Magnus Krona, who eventually maybe ends up being your backup. Then San Jose picks up Yaroslav Askarov. So, but again, this isn't just they're just making the trades. They're also making big signings. Okay. I mean, you lock up UC Saros to a massive 8-year deal, 7. I think it's written down right here. It's scroll over here. $7.74 million. Awesome. That's sick there. You pick up Alex Carrier for 3 years. You pick up Jonathan Marchessault for 5 years at $5.5 million. Brady Shea at $7 million for 7 years. You also get Steven Stamkos $8 million for 4 years. I mean, you're just going out there and you're making big swings, which I love the balls. You just love the balls on a team like that, just willing to go out and make those tough moves. And again, trading out guys that are beloved guys in the franchise, right? People really liked Ryan Johansson. People really liked Matt Duchesne. He played so well with Dallas when the year after he got bought out, signing for only $3 million. There's just there's some. Ekholm was very well liked, and I think Edmonton really does like him. He's a little older, but I think he's really well liked there as well. And so it's a great time to be a Nashville fan, because Barry Trotz is like, let's fucking win, maybe. Let's try winning. And honestly, last year they came in as a wild card spot, and I think they could do some damage in the Central. Who's going to stand by them? You have Colorado and Dallas. I think that's all the real competition. Chicago isn't, Minnesota really isn't, St. Louis isn't. Winnipeg will probably fight for him, but I think Winnipeg ends up dropping that fourth spot. I think Nashville ends up taking that third. I mean, there's not much that you can say that. I mean, yeah, Arizona. I mean, not Arizona. Utah is not going to take anything. I mean, they got better for sure, but I think Nashville ends up bumping. I think you're going to be getting like Dallas. You get Colorado, then you have Winnipeg, then you have Nashville, then Winnipeg. I think that makes sense in standings. Last year, it finished Dallas, Jets, Avalanche, Preds. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think, and you get again locking up UC Stars as well. So there's a lot of good aspects. I'm very excited about Nashville. I love just going all in. Oh, by the way, if I didn't tell you already, they have 3 first-round draft picks. They make all these crazy signings that go all in, and they're like, yeah, let's acquire a bunch of picks as well. They have their own first-round pick. They have the first-round pick from Askarov again, and a first-round prospect in David Edstrom, plus the Tanner Jeannot trade. So they have and by the way, who also just got traded from Tampa Bay to the LA Kings. So you have 3 first-round draft picks that you can use at the trade deadline this year to get more assets and get even better. Nashville is going to be a huge problem. They played to Game 7 against the Vancouver Canucks this past year, and honestly, I mean, to me, they're going to make it out of the first round. I mean, to me, they have to at this point because they're not going to be a wildcard team. They're going to be able to beat out. I think you go Jets versus Preds. Who do you take, right? Great goaltenders. And mind you, the Central is based, Avalanche don't have a great goaltender. Georgiev is fine. He's not the best, but, of the 4 of Stars, Jets, Preds, and Avalanche, I mean, he's definitely the worst goalie against Saros, Ottinger, who's kind of struggled last year, and Hellebuck, 2-time Vezina winner. So to me, like, Nashville just seems like the logical, like a great option. I think if you were excited about that Southern hockey, Nashville is definitely someone to get around with that. So I'm big fan of that. So second team that I want to go over is the Calgary Flames. So with the Calgary Flames, you have something that they did last summer before trade deadline, but still is kind of included because was on last year's roster up past trade deadline and now is no longer. The New Jersey Devils, or Tyler Toffoli, was traded away to the New Jersey Devils. And so that was prior to the season. My apologies. So you have the other one. You have the Calgary Flames trade out Nikita Zadorov in November 30th for a 5th and a 3rd round pick. So Calgary Flames are doing I think Calgary Flames are kind of doing the reluctant rebuild because, mind you, like when they played against Dallas and they beat him in that first round, RIP Johnny Gaudreau, honestly, like you lose Johnny Gaudreau in an offseason, you trade Matthew Tkachuk, right? And that what a large signing you're getting there, right? And again, it's kind of weird because the way the Calgary Flames, actually, I'm going to go back to 2022. The Matthew Tkachuk. So you're sending out Matthew Tkachuk and a 4th round pick. You're getting back Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar. So Jonathan Huberdeau having the best, I think is the best season for a right winger ever. Sets the season record in points. Mackenzie Weegar, great, solid first pair defenseman and a conditional 1st round pick. Awesome. Unfortunately, you had to trade Matthew Tkachuk, who ended up going to Florida and winning the Stanley Cup. But you still got some really good assets. It ended it ended up being, I thought it was going to be an overpay for Matt Tkachuk. Ended up being like a win for Florida in this case. And then you also, but again, you take you acquire a 1st round pick there, but then you send out a 1st round pick for Montreal to take on Sean Monahan's contract, which I thought was so stupid. That was so stupid. They were trying to be something they were not. And like you try and like pick up some guys, like you pick up like Troy Stetcher and Nick Ritchie, like you're trying to be something, and it just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. So, you move off of Tyler Toffoli, and then in this past year, you trade out Nikita's again, I'm for. I didn't think Calgary was good enough to meet the playoffs. You have to figure out what you're doing with your current assets. So the good guys, are you keeping them? Are you re-signing them? What are you doing? Nikita Zadorov, they end up trading for a 5th and a 3rd round pick. Again, end of January, they traded Elias Lindholm to the Vancouver Canucks for Andrei Kuzmenko, his roster player, Hunter Brustewitz, who is supposed to be like the Adam Fox of the NCAA, I believe. Let's see, where's he playing at right now? Jeff Merrick talks very highly of him, saying saying that his stats are just phenomenal. OHL, no, he's in the OHL. So when he got traded, he was it was in 23-24. He had 92 points in 62 games in WHL. That's really good. That's a really good. Oh, by the way, he's a defenseman with 92 points in 67 games. So he's almost a point and a half. I think he's a point and a half a game player as a defenseman. Great pickup by the Calgary Flames. And by the way, for a guy that the Vancouver Canucks are not re-signing, like they let him walk, which is crazy. Now, Yermo, I've heard good things. A first round pick and a fourth round pick. So that's amazing. That's great. Then they pick up Artem Grushkinov and a second and third round pick for moving out Tanev, which is smart. And then you trade out Noah Hannafin as well, getting back a first round pick, a third round pick, and Daniil Maramonov. Again, you're trading out good pieces. You're trading out guys who are not going to stay, who are not part of the long term plan, mind you. Actually, we'll go to what's currently on the roster in a second. Actually, then you pick up cheap guys for like Nikita Okatata for a fifth round pick. Again, you're trying out these guys that you like. Then you move out your big goalie, Jacob Markstrom, for Kevin Ball on a first round pick. Like that move a lot. Moving up Andrew Mangiapane for a second round pick. Like that. Again, who's part of the long term plan. Again, you sign some of these guys, Jake Bean, Ryan Longworth for $2 million for 2 years. Maybe you can flip him later. By the way, Stanley Cup winner, Ryan Lomberg. Anthony Mantha, you signed for $3.5 million. Again, you can flip him. You re-sign Sharangovich because he's part of the long-term plan. You sign a bunch of your first-round picks in like Zane Parekh, and where's the other guy? You pick up Devin Cooley. Again, so I like it. Mind you, there's still, and the reason I call, and Calgary sold a ton last year. I think they sold the most and traded out the most of any team. But to me, this is still a retool because of the assets they have left still. They have Rasmus Anderson still. They have Huberdeau. They have Uyghur. They have Kadri on all these big contracts that, Huberdeau signed till 2031. Nazem Kadri is till 2029. Andrei Kuzmenko, they'll resign. Blake Coleman is for another 3 years. You have going to defense again, Uyghur till 2031. It's 2024, 7 years from now. Mackenzie Uyghur with 37. So you got to decide if you want him. Rasmus Anderson has 2 years left. He's got a modified 16 no trade list. So I imagine 16 no trade list. He's already in Canada. I imagine it's the other 6 Canadian teams. But again, this is you can turn over this. Mind you, like, let's say they retain. When we saw a huge contract in San Jose get moved, it was signed recently, and then it got moved which was Hurdle. Hurdle signed an 8-year contract. Well, I'll even look it up right now because I'm curious. So, but you have like San Jose signs a huge contract for Hurdle, and then he doesn't play it. He doesn't play for it. So I'm going to retain salary. But you can sign these guys a long-term contract if they're able to move them. So Hurdle is till 2028. Looks like 2028. No, 29, 30. So 2020 or 2030, he is going to be retained. So the Sharks are going to be retaining 17% of Hurdle's contract till 2030 for the next 6 years. So 2 years ago, he signed this contract, and they still moved him, sending out Hurdle in 2/3. But this guy was movable. He was a asset, but San Jose's like, listen, we like you, we love you, Tomas, but we need to move. Like, we need to start this rebuild. And if you want to be part of it, great. If not, we need to trade you. And so that's why they end up trading to Vegas. I imagine Logan Couture also gets traded at some point this year if he's healthy, mind you. But again, that'll be a huge contract to retain. Again, but they're doing a rebuild, so it's different. So again, Calgary, if they're going to commit to a full retool, they're going to have to hang on to some of these guys. And I know they don't like to hang on to salary. They don't like to do retention. It's something that the owner is not a fan of. They retained on Markstrom. Let's see, 31%. Probably just so they can get first round pick. but still, I mean, it's going to be in the 20s. So is it that good? So again, I think they got to decide the direction. I like what the moves they did. Again, it feels like a retool right now. It could transition into a rebuild. There's a lot of options with that. So I'm curious. What are your thoughts on? What do you think Calgary does? Do they continue with a retool? Is it more like a rebuild? I mean, honestly, I'm not sure, but I'd love your opinion. Let me know. Comment section below. Hit like, subscribe, put your favorite emoji down there. I really appreciate that. So, thirdly, we are going over to the St. Louis Blues. So with the St. Louis Blues, they tried to be relevant in 2021. Mind you, they had been 2 years removed of their Stanley Cup in the 2019 season. So this is 2021. I mean, they went to the New York Rangers. They tried to they traded for Pavel Buchnevich, right? They acquired Logan Brown. I mean, they picked up Clifford. They picked up Nick Leddy in 2022, sending out Wallman and a second round pick. Man, Wallman just can trade with second round picks a ton, isn't he? Like that. I mean, again, but at some point after 2022, they started to say, okay, well, I don't know if this is going to work really, right? So what they ended up doing is they tried. I mean, they had tried acquiring stuff, but they're like, I think we need to do a retool. So they ended up trading Ville Husso, who they're not going to resign. Traded out Klim Kostin. They ended up moving in 2023 Vladimir Tarasenko and Niko Mikkola, picking up first round pick and a third round pick, as well as picking Sammy Blais, who was in the original Pavel Buchnevich deal. Get him back, and Hunter Skinner as well. They also send out Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly, because Ryan O'Reilly was going to the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2023 along with Noel Chari, but Minnesota Wild had some retention there. So St. Louis was getting a first round pick there, a third round pick, and a second round pick. They also traded out Ivan Barbashev for Zach Dean, who's a first round prospect. They tried on Jacob Vrana. That did not end up working out. They moved out Kevin Hayes. They moved out Robert Bertuzzo. They ended up moving out Alexander Texier this past year. And so it's just there's a ton of stuff that they end up doing. And they end up picking Redeem Foxa. So they're doing this retool. And the big thing that I think, again, they're moving out these guys for first round picks, and you're not competing for the playoffs at this point. So you have to consider what's the plan. And how are they acquiring these guys? So they're taking these first round picks and they're actually using them. I think they picked 3 guys in 2023 draft. It was 2023 draft. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm just going to scroll real quick just to confirm. Pretty sure. Cause no. It was 2023 draft. Cause they had like, Jimmy Snuggerud. And I can't think of the rest of their guys' name, but yeah. So 2023, they actually used all their draft picks there. And so mind you, now it's 2024. They had a regular draft. They did not qualify for the playoffs last year. I think they ended up finishing 5th in the division, missing the playoffs by 9 points. 9 points? 8 points because Vegas made it in the fourth spot, a wild card spot. But mind you, like they're not. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to accomplish? And so they do something that is so much fun. I love the balls on them. I just love it. I love what they're doing because it cracks me up. So they go out there, mind you, again, they pick up a couple guys, they sign a couple guys and everything. They sign Adam Juracek to his contract. They get, they re-sign Pavel Buchnevich. And there's 2 other guys that they send out these contracts to. They send them to their agents, and they talk to these 2 guys who aren't in the St. Louis Blues system. Names are Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. So again, offer sheets are rarely done, and if you don't understand offer sheets, they're for restricted free agents, which means if you're a restricted free agent, the only person that can sign you is your team. Now you can refuse and not show up to camp, and there's some things that players can do, but overall, the team really has control of you under these pretty much until you're 26, or you have under 7 years under your 7 NHL years under your season or under your belt. So Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway were both restricted free agents. So, and there wasn't really much contract talk with Dylan Holloway or Broberg. Supposedly, that's what Dylan Holloway was saying. At least in Dylan Holloway's case, who's like, he's like on a Edmonton team who's trying to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Dylan Holloway is like $1 million, $1.5 million player. So when the St. Louis Blues are like, listen, we'll give you 2.29. Dylan Holloway's like, are you sure? You want to do that? And he goes, Edmonton, like, St. Louis Blues are offering me 2.29. Like, you're probably, we even had contract talks at this point. They hadn't had talks at this point because Edmonton was focusing on Leon Draisaitl, who, by the way, signed $14 million for 8 years. So, I mean, of course, that's a huge contract. Your big UFA event, he's signed for this year, but the following year, you're like, let's get the big Stan Bowman's like, let's big move, and Leon Draisaitl was the main focus. That's just, let's be honest, he is. And you take whatever status Broberg and Holloway have, Leon Draisaitl is more important. He's the top 3 player in the league, no matter what, top 5, right? So you have, even without McDavid, and so you have these 2 guys who are not feeling the love, which is fine, right? So St. Louis Blues, Doug Armstrong goes, listen, man, Dylan Holloway, I'll give you 2.29, 2 years. By the way, the reason the St. Louis Blues did 2 years is because they knew that they were going to have to sign Leon Draisaitl. So Leon Draisaitl goes from making like $8 million a year to 14. That's $16 million above. I mean, that's going to cover whatever cap increase from 24 to 25. This is from the 24 to the 25 season. From the 24-25 season to the 24-25-26 season. And same with Broberg, like, they're like, hey, Broberg, we'll give you 4.58. Again, $1 less than the offer sheet where they're going to have to give a pick. Mind you, offer sheets is what, again, the reason you can offer sheet another team's RFA. And what that means is that you can give them a contract. You can say, listen, so in this case, they're like, Blues are like, hey, Broberg, hey, Holloway, here's what we want to pay you. Here's a contract. If you want to sign this, great, let's sign this. And then Edmonton has 7 days to respond. And so Edmonton's like, okay, like, maybe we do want to keep him. What's the thought? Because the thing is the contract that Dylan Holloway signed, if he signs it and Edmonton doesn't match it, Edmonton gets a pick. So in the Dylan Holloway case, they get a 3rd round pick. Dylan Holloway was a 14th overall pick in the 1st round. So you send out a 3rd, you overpay him a little bit for a retooling team, and you send out a 3rd round pick. No way that Edmonton would trade Dylan Holloway for a 3rd round pick, but that's basically what's happening. And same with Broberg. Broberg's paid more at $4.58 million, but again, he's an 8th overall pick. Played well in the playoffs too, mind you. And the price that the Blues offer for that 2-year contract, it was the Edmonton Oilers would get a 2nd round pick. You're not trading Broberg for a 2nd round pick. It just wouldn't make sense. But at that price point, the Doug Armstrong and the Blues were like, listen, I know this guy's gonna have a tough, like, they're gonna have a tough time fitting these under the cap. I don't think Edmonton will match these. And so what ends up happening is that St. Louis Blues get those players. It goes a couple days. They get those players. They send the 2nd and 3rd round pick over to Edmonton. Mind you, I did think there was a conversation between Edmonton and St. Louis, because what ended up happening is the St. Louis Blues did end up sending a little bit more over to the Edmonton Oilers in a 3rd round pick and Paul Fisher, a 5th round prospect for future consideration. So basically what you did is you overpaid for Broberg and Holloway, and you all it cost you was 2 3rd round picks and a 2nd round pick. So cost you 3 picks and a Paul Fisher, a prospect that you probably weren't going to use. Let's look. I'm curious on what his. He doesn't have a contract right now. He was 138th overall in 2023. And he had in NCAA, he had 16 points in 34 games. So a half point per game guy, and he's a defenseman. So it's not bad. He's a guy. I mean, Edmonton doesn't have much in their prospect pool anyway, so it's a guy. So maybe just to make the contracts work, or contract numbers work, the number of contracts work. Let's go with that. And so I think it was good business. It was a good, smart retool move by the St. Louis Blues. I really like that. And so I think it was really smart. I just thought it was so smart. It was so tactful. And I wish offer sheets happen more often. Mind you, I'm a Red Wings fan. Don't do it to Sider Raymond. Don't do it. I'm telling you, I don't care who you think you are. You're not smart enough. Irisman will sign them and he will match those motherfuckers. Even if he has to overpay, he'll match them. Unless you want to give us unless you want to pay him like $10.5 million, which in which case you get like 4 first-round picks, then he might let him go. But overall, I think offer sheets are fun. I like the Kakanyemi one. I like that having back with Carolina and Montreal. I like the Montreal try to do with Aho. And mind you, we haven't seen an offer sheet in like several years, so like it's fun. It makes the drama more fun. Trying to steal essentially within the rules, but still stealing a player. I like it. I think it's a lot of fun. So I encourage it. I think it's we should do more of this kind of stuff, but. I mean, let me know what your thoughts are on offer sheets. I think they're so much fun. I think it's just so much fun. So, we're gonna do a quick ad break, but just to give you a heads up, we are doing we'll do a BetterHelp and a DraftKings ad break, but we will be going over the 4th team, the 4th, 5th, and 6th teams that I have. Again, I have 5 teams that I like what the Retools are doing. I'll give you the hint right now. It's gonna be Minnesota. We're covering about next. Very interesting there. Well, it's very interesting. And then we have the Washington Capitals Retool and how it compares to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. So DraftKings. NFL Week 1 is here, and a new season means new ways to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. Mind you, I'm a Lions fan, so my wife's obsessed with the Lions right now. That's all she wants for her birthday. And we're definitely going to be looking at who's going to score the first touchdown this upcoming Sunday. I think against the Buccaneers, so definitely check on that. I'm curious on who you think it will be. It'll be a ton of fun. So ready to do your and get ready to do a touchdown dance of your own. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets. When you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus premium on us. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in New York. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boo Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 68 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming sources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer only available to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. What's something you love to learn? As an adult, do you make time to learn things as often as you like, or was that just lost in childhood? Maybe something that you want to learn. Maybe you want to pick up the guitar. It was something that you saw when you were 16. You listened to Eddie Van Halen's Eruption on the tapping and everything. You're like, that is so cool. And now suddenly you're in your 30s. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a long career. Maybe a hobby. Maybe you podcast. And so there's certain things that you just don't end up prioritizing because you're an adult. And it's tough to break back into those things to find some enjoyment and be able to learn and grow, because kids are learning and growing all the time, but adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. And if you're thinking about, and therapy can do that, and therapy can help you learn that and help to rediscover that passion, that curiosity, that drive for life, and to be able to find that excitement to be able to say, hey, like, I want to learn more about this. I want to really pursue this. So therapy has been helpful for me in that case, on the sense that I've gone to it. I enjoy it. I think it was very helpful for me and things that I was going through, and kind of helping realize some individuality of myself. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suitable to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today and to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. And now back to the show. All right, so we are jumping back in after our nice ad reads. We are going over the Minnesota Wild. So Minnesota Wild did something a bit crazy a couple years ago. So when they did this, it was honestly unprecedented, and it was something that I'm a little bit shocked they still did, because when they ended up buying out these two players, these again, we talked about these franchise players that were bought out. It was a huge deal. So this ended up being, in 2021. So this is 3 years ago. Zach Parise and Ryan Suter ended up at the time of the original deal signed 13-year contracts, which are now currently illegal, for $98 million total at $7.5 million AAV, average annual value. So that's per year. They're getting paid almost a little over $7.5 million per year. So with that, when you do something like that, it's a huge strain because these guys are your franchise guys. They're going to be here forever. And they were, but they already had a pretty established teams, and you're like, we'll deal with these contracts later. And so they found a way to deal with them. They didn't want to take care of these things anymore because they were a huge strain on the team. So what they ended up doing is Bill Guerin got some freaking cojones on him. Said, no, I think I'm done with these guys. So they ended up buying them out. Let's see. When did they end up buying them out? 2021, like I said. So for the last couple of years, Minnesota Wild has been sitting in a very, very heavy buyout and retain salary cap. 16.8% of their cap has been taken up. 16.8, right? So that's like 1/6.5, basically 1/7, under 1/7, like 1/6.5, basically, of their cap, right? So imagine having a pizza and losing immediately. They take out a slice and a half. More than that, probably. Anyways, imagine that. Just instantly gone. You're like, I pay for a whole pizza. You're like, yeah, but you remember that time that you gave pizza, that you took pizza somewhere else? We're taking it back. So basically with the Zach Parise and the Ryan Suter, they're taking a $14.7 million, and they have been for a significant chunk, several million dollars. And in this year alone, 2024-25, you have $14.7 million going just to the Zach Parise and Ryan Suter buyouts. And that puts that's tough, especially with a cap that wasn't going up in 2020, 2021, 2022. Like, so you're not cap's not going up, and these things are holding you back. And supposedly there was a culture change that needed to be done. And so Bill Guerin again buys these guys out, and you take on this huge cap hit. Mind you, this is the final year that these cap hits will have a huge impact. And this is why it is for Minnesota. It is not a rebuild. It is a retool. This happened 3 years ago. And so after this, so in 2021, right? So you've had the 21 season, the 22 season, 23 season. So now we're going into the 24 season. So you're within that under, 1, 2, 3, 4 years for that retool. So this year they have $14.7 million in dead cap, and next year they will only have 1.6. So they're gaining basically a little over $13 million back in cap space. Plus, let's say the cap goes up another theoretically $5 million. You're getting $18 million in cap space. Do you remember what Nashville did? Do you remember? You should. It was at the start of this video. They bought so hard, and I think that's exactly what you're going to see Minnesota do. Because mind you, guess who's up? Guess who has after this year's done? Guess who has 1 year left? Kirill Kaprizov, and he can be like, okay, so what are you guys doing? He'll it's like, are you guys going all in? And if you are going all in, it doesn't make sense for me to stay. And they paid him $9 million. And mind you, they have a lot of good guys locked up for a long time rating. Kirill Kaprizov, again, he'll probably end up re-signing a contract next July 1st. Matt Boldy, he signed until 2030 at $7 million. Joel Eriksson signed for 5.25 till 2029. You have Matt Zuccarello, Marcus Foligno, like Ryan Hartman. Like, these guys are at reasonable contracts right now. Jakub Trenner was recently signed as well until 2028. You have Frederick Gaudreau. Like, some of these guys are really established as like long-term people. But then you have a lot of young guys kind of Liam Ogren, you have Marco Rossi, who need a new contract next year, right? But next year, when all that money is available too, right? Then you have like your captain Jared Spurgeon. You can you just signed Brock Faber to that massive 8-year deal, but there will be room to start spending and getting these guys, keeping your players. Or if you don't want to keep them, you end up trading them. Philip Gustafson's going to need a contract next July 1st, or he's able to sign a new contract next July 1st. So again, this is like, again, we talked about St. Louis and the balls on Doug Armstrong. Bill Armstrong or he is the Utah Hockey Club. Doug Armstrong had balls by trying to steal someone else's player, and he was successful. The balls on Bill Guerin to be like, "Yo, I hate ownership. You're gonna have to eat $14 million in 24-25, and the players won't be here. But we're gonna do a huge culture shift. We're gonna get some we're gonna draft some guys, make some moves." And I think they've made some moves. They haven't done the same moves. Again, the assets they have were not the same as the St. Louis Blues. They don't have big guys like that. They ended up they traded up with Philadelphia this past year. They moved out Connor Dewar. I mean, like they traded Patrick Maroon, Brandon Duhaime, Bogosian. They moved out Kalen Addison. And they tried to stay relevant last year with like acquiring John Klingberg, Gustav Nyquist, Marcus Johansson. Mind you, they also retained Ryan O'Reilly. They retained on Dmitry Orlov as well. They did some weird moves, but they're just trying to stay relevant, which I like. I think it was like ballsy. But again, they didn't have the assets. I mean, they did, mind you, in 2022, they did trade Kevin Fiala, got the first round pick, and Brock Faber in that one. So I did like that a lot for them. So, and again, they acquired Marc-Andre Fleury as well. So again, they're trying to stay relevant. They're trying to stay relevant here. Again, it was a big move, and it was impressive, and I'm really excited to see. I think they're going to go big game hunting. And I don't know who they're going to be going for, because I don't know the UFA class. We'll have to look that up later. I think it's really exciting what Minnesota has done and some of the moves they made. I think it's a ton of fun. That's what this is all about. Like, how do we have some fun here, right? Like, I want to just have the most fun we can with these guys. And I think that what they did was it was absolutely wild, per the name insists. But I think it was a very cool move. Again, it was something different. It's something that you're like, holy smokes, how are they going to navigate this? And they've navigated it. They didn't make the playoffs, but they've navigated it. And I think you can see a huge push next year. Maybe you see someone like the Avs starts to stumble, or the Winnipeg Jets. The Central's going to be crazy because you're going to have the Wild. Chicago's going to start to get better. They're going to start stealing points with Bedard, and they made a bunch of moves this year. Nashville, you have Dallas is already so good. Colorado's good. Winnipeg's good. Utah Hockey Club's trying to be good too. So there's a ton of teams. Who else is going to be good? Chicago. Pretty much the whole. St. Louis Blues making moves. The whole Central's making moves to get better long term. Chicago and Utah are not going to be rebuilding teams forever. So I'm curious on how that transition ends up working out, because it's going to be a ton of fun. Keep your eyes peeled. I think you're going to see huge moves in the Minnesota Wild. So, lastly, so I want to talk over. Oh, not lastly. Second to lastly, we're going to go over the Washington Capitals, who, by the way, at this current time, mind you, they're not including the LTI right now, but they are $10.2 million over the cap. But mind you, they're probably going to putting Nick Backstrom on LTIR, TJ Oshie also on LTIR. So we will see what ends up happening with that. Both a little bit older, 36 and 37, but part of the old guard. Again, Tom Wilson's also part of that. But I wanted to mention some of the things that I really like that Washington has done. So again, they made the playoffs this past year. They made moves to make the playoffs. Let's go back. I want to go back to some of their other trades back in a bit. So, like in 2023. So this is 2022. They tried a little bit. Didn't make any great moves, but they tried. They acquired Connor Brown. But really that year, the 2022-23 year didn't work out. And so what they ended up doing is you have Washington Capitals are finally like, you know what, we're not doing it. Let's do a quick retool. So they trade out Dmitry Orlov and Garnett Hathaway. They get a first, second, and third round pick for that, as well as Craig Smith. They tried out Marcus Johansson for a 3rd round pick. They take that 1st round pick that they got from Boston. They acquire Eric Gustafsson and Rasmus Sandin. That's cool, right? They end up trading Lars Eller for a 2nd round pick. They end up trading Joel Edmondson out for a 3rd and 7th. They trade out Anthony Mantha as well for a 2nd and a 4th. They traded Evgeny Kuznetsov. So they move pieces that were valuable again, which is huge. They're like, listen, are they part of the long-term plan? Are they going to work out long-term? We don't know, but let's while we got them, let's move them, you know? And then they make these big moves this past. So like, again, mind you, they signed guys like Dylan Strome to like a good chunk contract. Let me pull this up. Like they got Dylan Strome, scrolling up here. Dylan Strome until 2028 at $5 million. So again, that's one of your centers. You're looking at Connor McMichael's a young guy. He's one of your centers. But is Dylan Strome a number 1 center? No, not really. And Nicholas Backstrom's just not there anymore. Too injured and everything. LTIR. So what do? Again, balls. Again, whether you agree with it or not, you have to recognize that this type of move is intelligent on both sides. It's interesting. Like I just like interesting stuff, whether you agree with it or not. You're betting on this. So they end up doing is they end up trading Darcy Kemper, who did not have a good year this past year, for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Mind you, they weren't great. And again, Washington wasn't great. They snuck into the playoffs by having more regulation wins than the Detroit Red Wings. So they trade out Darcy Kemper for Pierre-Luc Dubois. You get your number 1 center. He's paid too much for too long. And he didn't work out in LA, didn't work out in Winnipeg. But maybe it'll work out in Washington. And they're willing to take the bet. That's the thing, is they're willing to take the bet that we can fix him. You know, it didn't work for you, but it'll work for me. It'll work for us. But I liked, again, balls. We need a manscaped ad here. This is just, we're all just talking about balls. Me alone with my Taylor Swift Christmas tree over here. My Red Wing stuff up there. I got 2 things over there. So you should see all the Red Wing stuff here too. But I like the balls on them. So they make this massive trade. I mean, it ends up costing them $3.25 million. They end up making a trade for a goalie as well. They end up picking up Logan Thompson from the Vegas Golden Knights for 2 third-round picks. Phenomenal. But now they have the only 2 right-handed or the 2 prominent right-handed catching goalies. I could not think of the word goalie. Jesus Christ. Again, they pick up Andrew Mangiapane for a 2nd round pick, right? We have Beck Malenstein. You know, they trade for Jacob Chikrin as well, moving out Nick Jensen and the 3rd round pick. So again, they're making moves. And mind you, like some of these moves, like Mangiapane has 1 year left. Like Chikrin has 1 year left. And you're like, let's try these guys. Maybe they'll work. You know, maybe it'll work. You know, you sign Ethan Bear, or you have Ethan Bear on your roster. You're trying these guys out, and I like that a lot. Again, in your 2 goalies you have with Lindgren and Thompson, they're here this year, and maybe they'll work, maybe it doesn't. But again, Ovi is trying. They're trying to surround Ovi with guys that it might work. It's high risk, high reward. Pierre-Luc Dubois is a high risk, high reward. Mangiapane, I think he played pretty well. I mean, Chikrin we know can play well. Mangiapane can play well. We've seen him play well before in Calgary. He's had good years. Last year he was 40 points in 75 games. I mean, what was that one year? He had a really hot year one year. In 21-22, 35 goals in 82 games. I mean he hasn't gotten half that since, but you know, there's that capability. So if you surround him with someone that's inspiring like Ovi, and you put him on your wing, I mean, actually, I'm curious on what that would look like. I don't even know what the lines would look like. Let's pull up the lines. Washington Capitals lines on Daily Faceoff. Honestly, big fan of Daily Faceoff, and I'll even share the screen so you guys can see as well. So I'm not sitting here alone, just talking to myself. But let's present. So scrolling in, there we go. So they have Dylan Strome as their interesting. So Dylan Strome making $5 million, Pierre-Luc Dubois making $8 million. They had Alex Ovechkin, Dylan Strome, Tom Wilson. Okay, interesting. I thought you'd want someone else different than Tom Wilson up there. I think Tom Wilson's more of a second line. Connor McMichael. Oh, Andrews Lafayette. Like you have again, it's fun. This is fun. Ovechkin, Strome, Wilson, Mangiapane trying that out. Pierre-Luc Dubois trying that out. Connor McMichael's working out pretty well. Sonny Milano, that was a great experience. It's working out. Taylor Radish is a new signing. Brandon Duhaime, right? Jacob Chikrin and Carlson would be sweet. Sandine. Oh, Matt Roy. I forgot they signed Matt Roy. Again, going let's pull up the signings because I want to make sure that I get this right. Matt Roy, 6 years at $5.75 million. Again, Brandon Duhaime, they signed for 2 years. Taylor Rash, they get him for a year. Again, so this is cool. I mean, again, I think this is fun. I think it's a fun, exciting thing that you're seeing happen with these guys that the Washington Capitals are trying to be better, and I like that for them. So I agree. And again, this rebuild is gonna be tough for them. Once Ovechkin's gone, they're gonna have the cabinets will be empty, in my opinion. They will be you'll be stuck with Tom Wilson and a bunch of freshmen, basically rookies, and Connor McMichael maybe. Fedivari too as well. I like that too. But I like it. You have a direction. And that's the thing is that so we talked about this with Nashville. They have a direction. They signed a bunch of UFAs. Calgary has a direction. They sold a ton. Again, we're going through all these. St. Louis has a direction. They sold their good assets, first round picks, drafted guys with those first round picks, then picked up other guys on offer sheets. They have a direction. Minnesota, there is a timeline when that dead cap is no longer an issue. And it is after this year, you have a direction. Then you move on to the Washington Capitals. Ovechkin is going for the goal record. He's trying to beat Gretzky. You have a direction. You're seeing they're buying guys. They're not spending time. They're not spending first round picks. They're spending some second round picks, but they're not spending first round picks. I mean, if I look at the Washington Capitals right now, let's see what they have for picks right now. I mean, this up-and-coming year in 2025, they got a first, 2 second-round picks, a first. I mean, they have everything. They have everything but their 6th and 7th round pick, and then they also have an additional 2nd and a 5th round pick. I mean, and next year, all they're missing is a 3rd, but they have an extra 4th. So they're not hurting. They're not hurting at all. I think there's a ton of value here, and I think their retool will be the rebuilt after Ovechkin's done. Which, I mean, it's not going to be for a little bit now. I think he's got this year and next year. He honestly, if he might sign for it. I mean, he's 38 now. He honestly might sign again, which would be crazy. But yeah, I think again, you have direction. And the reason that I'm emphasizing direction so much is there's a team we're going to talk about. And like I said, I spoiled it already earlier. It is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know what is happening with this team. It is so frustrating because they're making moves. So I would say that like Mangiapane for Washington, was he a huge acquisition? No, but it was like a good acquisition. He's shown a lot of potential. Pierre-Luc Dubois has shown up, be about like 68 points up in a season. It's been a bit, but he can do it. You're trying with Chikrin. He can play well as well as long as he stays healthy. And the issue is with a team such as the Pittsburgh Penguins, I just don't know what you're doing. Because like last year was probably your start. So again, it's a direction. The direction is the issue. So Kyle Dubas took over in 2023. And so you're like, okay, so there's now a direction. It's the summer of 2023. What are we doing here? So I think he is. Let's see, when did he take over? I literally just had this up, and I cannot remember for the life of me right now. It's so frustrating. But Kyle Dubas took over for the Pittsburgh Penguins in June 1st of 2023. So it was a month before the trade deadline. No, to the free agency. So you had a month before before free agency. So we had saw what the previous regime had done. They had acquired Mikael Granlund. They traded Chetty Bluger, but then they acquired Jeff Petrie as well. and Ryan Poehling. They also acquired Nick Bonino, Kulikov, Riley Smith. No, that was Riley Smith was Kyle Dubas. And to me, so Kyle Dubas signs a 7x7, a $7 million over 7 years, which doesn't hit the cap, by the way. Kyle Dubas does this. And so I think he goes to management and he said, listen, management, you need a retool or you need a rebuild. And they're like, listen, motherfucker, we have Crosby. We're not doing no retool. We're going for it. We're trying. He's like, you want to go for it? Like, you actually want to try and go for it? But you want like a big swing? Like, motherfucker, we want a big swing. We have Crosby, a generational player. Why aren't we trying to go for it? We missed the playoffs. We don't want to do it again. He's like, okay, let's try it. So they acquire Riley Smith. They try that because on a Vegas Golden Knights who had won the Stanley Cup the year prior, that year. So they pick up Riley Smith, who had won Stanley Cup, try and bring back that winning culture of a recent Stanley Cup winner. Then Pittsburgh Penguins are like, all right, let's get Mike Hoffman and Rem Pitlick. Let's move out Jeff Petrie. He's kind of getting a little old. Let's move out Casey DeSmith. We're good on him. Get a second round pick as well. And then we got to move off some of these bad contracts that we don't like. Well, they took back Mike Hoffman. Then they end up in that same day, they make that trade with the Canadians. They take Mikael Granlund, move off his contract, who was just traded for at the trade, just like last year, the year prior. Mike Hoffman, Jan Rutta, 3 contracts they want to move off of. So you know what it costs to move out those contracts? You had to send out a first round pick. You pick up Erik Karlsson and a 3rd round pick in some prospect. I don't even know who he is. I don't know if he signed. I think he does not have a contract. He was a former 2nd round pick in 2019 for the San Jose Sharks. He's in the AHL. Maybe he'll play. I don't know. Either way, Erik Karlsson is the main piece, and the first round pick is in the first round pick being sent out. They sent out a first round pick with all these bad contracts to pick up Erik Karlsson, that massive, and I think he was partially retained. Let me see. It was partially retained because I think he go over here. Where is that contract? Okay, so he makes the 10. He has 10 million. It was cost him. Yeah, so I think he makes 11.5, but it only costs Pittsburgh $10 million. So like, okay, here's your big acquisition. Here's me trying to go all in for you. Here's me trying to show you that, okay, let's do it. Let's go out. Let's show that we want. Do you want to do this? Let's do it. And so he makes a massive trade for Erik Karlsson. Then they trade out. So then it doesn't work out. It's not working out. It's just not going as great as you think it is. So they end up making some trades. They trade out like Rem Pitlick. They trade out like Will Butcher. And then at the end, they also they're like, okay, we're done with the Alex Nylander experiment. Let's pick up Emil Bemstrom. And then they're like, well, listen, it's not going good. It's just not going okay. We did Erik Karlsson. We already have Letang. Why do we have Erik Karlsson as well? It's the power play just sucked. Honestly, it didn't go as well. They didn't do as bad as you think they would, but they did not do good. If you go to the standings, looking at them right here, I mean, they were 3 points away from Washington Capitals. Mind you, they were still behind the Red Wings as well, so they're still going to get that spot. But they were close, but it just didn't pan out. And you're like, okay, well, how far are we moving with this thing? I mean, so they're like, are we going to keep Jake Gensel? It's like, well, what does he want? And he's like, he wants like 8-9 million. And management and Dubas is like, no, we're not going to pay you that. You know why we're not going to pay you that? Because we have Crosby at 8.7. We have Malkin at 6.1. We have Rust at 5.1. We have Raquel at 5. All these guys are above 31 years old. You have Kevin Hayes. You have Erik Karlsson. You have Chris Letang. You have Ryan Graves. Like, big contracts. And we can't afford to pay this guy. Like, it's just not going to work out. And so what they end up doing is they end up trading Jake Gensel to the Carolina Hurricanes. Who do they get back? Again, it's a trade I don't understand well enough, and maybe that's on me that I need to know more. But you trade out Jake Gensel, who last year injured 50 points in 52 games. And he played phenomenal. I think he was like a point and a half, like a 1.2 game goals per game, or points per game with Carolina. I believe he performed very well with Carolina. You trade out Ty Smith, moving off a bad contract. You get back Michael Bunting, who you know, as Steve Dangle says, Kyle Dubas loves his guys. Who put up 36 points in 60 games. You get Ville Koivunen, a prospect. Okay, cool. You get Chaz Lucius, a prospect. You get Vasily Parnamov, who's a prospect. You get a second round pick and a fifth round pick. So, well, you don't get a fifth round pick because Carolina did not win the cup. But you get a second round pick. So you got a roster player, a couple of B level prospects, and a second round pick. Honestly, for who the Carolina Hurricanes have in like Jackson Blake, I think it's Nadeau is his other name. That's what you got. I'm underwhelmed. I'm extremely underwhelmed in what you just got. So I'm like, what's the direction? What's happening? Because if you're rebuilding, you want these prospects good like now. And again, mind you, these prospects are a little bit more ready. I'd say they're a little older. I think if we look at the trade, like Vasily Pominarov is 22 years old, right? Chaz Lucius is 20 years old. Ville Koivunen is 21 years old. So these guys are starting to break out. They're starting to be better. But are they like the guys right now? Not really. And they're not the best. They're not bad prospects. They're not with what Carolina had to give up to get Jake Gensel. It was not that much. I do that every day of the week. So then again, you have Pittsburgh moving out Chad Ruedel to the New York Rangers. They send out Magnus Hellberg. They acquire Kevin Hayes so they can get a second round pick. I mean, they send out Riley Smith as well. They make the trade with St. Louis for the offer sheets so that St. Louis can get their pick back. They acquire Cody Glass so they can get third round pick and a sixth round pick. So up until that point, I'm confused because you're sending these guys out. You're getting some like marginal picks, but what are you going to do with those? You didn't sign anyone that impressive. There is one person you did sign impressive, which I want to get to at the end. I mean, you get Matt Grzelcyk, who played well on you're kind of getting fill-in guys. You're getting Blake Lizotte, fill-in guy. Anthony Beauvillier, fill-in guy. Matt Grzelcyk, who is good. I'd like him as a third pair. Boca Imame, I love that guy. He's a lot of fun. You re-sign Emil Bemstrom, was in that trade. You get Matt Holloway. You re-sign Nedeljkovic. I mean, you're not getting guys that you are impact players. And the only impact player is some that you got in 2023, Braden Yeager. So you get him, but mind you, he's young. He's like 18 years old. He's still playing the WHL. But there's an opportunity that presents himself with the Winnipeg Jets. A certain player in the NCAA says, listen, I don't want to be a Jet. I don't want to do it. So the Pittsburgh Penguins end up trading for Rucker, McGroarty, and sending out Braden Yeager. Both are 14th overall picks. Braden Yeager in 2023 and Rucker McGroarty in 2022. Supposedly, Rucker McGroarty has the higher ceiling. Again, Jets trading from a position of weakness because a guy requested a trade. So Pittsburgh capitalized on it. And Rucker McGroarty supposedly is going to be trying out for an NHL job. But Sid has this year left on his contract right now. I mean, supposedly he's going to sign another contract. I assume it's going to be for another 3 years. I assume. Probably 3 or 4 years. Depends on how long he wants to play. And maybe this move helps. I think this is a good move. A Rucker McGroarty move is a good move. That's kind of your Jake Gensel kind of player that could play up in that higher lineup. Second, first pair. But But what else do you have? What else are you going for? Like a lot of these guys, I mean, what are you doing this? Like, what are you doing this year? What direction are you going? You're this up and coming year after this year, maybe okay. So you shed some cap. Maybe you're not going to the playoffs this year. You're doing a little bit of retool right now. But what's the incentive for Sid to stay for a retool? Because you can get an ass load for a Sidney Crosby. Send him to Colorado, get a first round pick and a prospect, call it good, right? Because Graves is till 2029, Letang's till 2028, Carlson's till 2027. Those are and just that alone, 10, 6.1, 4.5. So you're looking at $20.6 million on those three guys on defense who are going to be here till at minimum 2027. Crosby, Malkin's here till 2026. Rust is here till 2028. Rickard Rakell is here till 2028. So what's happening? What are you doing? That's kind of what I'm just wondering what you're doing. And I don't know what the goal is. That's my issue. I don't know what the direction is. I'm excited they have Record McGroarty. I'm glad that he's gonna try and fight for an NHL job. I hope he does. But again, you have a lot of guys who just don't. Like there's not a lot of movers and shakers here. And mind you, if you're playing with Sid, maybe kind of like playing with Crosby. Matt Savoy could potentially play with Crosby or Draisaitl because he's that high caliber of player, and that can elevate a player. But you can make a 40-point guy, a 60-point guy. You can't make a 40-point guy, an 85 to 90-point guy playing with, like say, Crosby. Unless you're Jonathan Chichu with Joe Thornton, different story. It's the exception, not the rule. Let's be honest, okay? So Pittsburgh, I'm just a little frustrated. I just don't know what you're doing. And it's a bit concerning. I think Kyle Dubas is ready to tear this thing down. I think he's ready to just go and rip it all apart, gut it, buyouts, trades. I mean, someone will take Evgeny Malkin. Like he'll need to choose where he goes. Maybe get a second round pick from him, but you want the money back. Crosby, if he left, everyone would be like, I understand, right? Brian Rust, you probably get something for him. His no movement clause is up next year, so I think you trade him next year. Rickard Rakell is on an 8-team no trade list, so there's something there, right? So there are places you can trade him. Erik Karlsson is fully locked. Chris Letang is fully locked until his second to last year. Ryan Graves has a 12-team no trade clause. So there is some movement that can happen here. And I'm really curious on what that's going to look like. Because I don't know what it is. I think it's ownership. I think Kyle Dubas kind of saying to ownership, hey, fuck you, dude. I tried. I got you one of the former Norris winning defenseman who scored 100 points on the freaking San Jose Sharks. And it still wasn't good enough. And so I think he's trying to fill in pieces, and I'm a little lost, and I hope it works out. And the Metro is wide open. I mean, in my opinion, it's pretty wide open in what's available. Because the Metro, Rangers are going to make it, Hurricanes are going to make it. Devils should be much better because they're going to be a lot healthier. Supposedly, I hear people arguing that Devils could be taking over the number one spot in the Metro. I don't know if that's the case because you're going to see Luke Hughes going to have a better year. You'll have Dougie Hamilton back healthy. You'll have a new goaltender. You'll have Jack Hughes in being healthy. You'll have Jacob Markstrom as your new goalie. So basically, it's Rangers, Hurricanes, Devils. I think that would make the playoffs. And then you're fighting like the Islanders, the Washington Capitals for those playoff spots. And it's doable, but Washington made the moves. Islanders didn't do shit. So, I mean, you're not going to beat Columbus, Flyers. They're still going to be in the basement, which is fine because they're in the middle of the rebuilds. But to me, I need more. I need a little more zhuzh. A little more zhuzh. And you need Jari to stop a puck. You need him to get better. And Nedeljkovic too. Both of them. I like Ned. I like them when he play for the Red Wings. So, anywho, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe, comment. A bit of a rant on my favorite rebuilding teams. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm curious because I think there's a ton of fun in these rebuilding teams. Again, there is fun in the NHL. There's fun possible. I just give you 6 different examples of how all these are different, right? Nashville, going big game hunting, getting first round picks and going big game hunting for Stamkos, Brady Shea, and Marchessault. Calgary, selling off their assets and still have good assets. They're in their middle of the retool. St. Louis Blues, going for the offer sheets, trading away their assets as well. Minnesota, making massive buyouts. I love that. Washington, again, you have this star. You surround people around the star, and you're making these moves. Pittsburgh, you have the star, and you're not doing big moves. So there's 5 good ways. 6, I've complained enough about it. But there's ways to do this. There's ways to make this fun. There's ways to have a good time in the NHL, and we need more fun. I love hockey. I want it to continue to be more fun. And one of the reasons I started this podcast is that, like, I love this sport. I hear some of these idiots talk. I know I'm one of those idiots. Look at me. I'm wearing my backwards hat and everything. I'm one of those idiots. But they're gonna be fun. Hockey's the best sport in the world, hands down, best sport in the world. So come join me. Hit like, subscribe. Let's have a fun ride. I'll make it fun. Let me know what you want to see. I'll make it fun for you. So, anyways, you guys have a great night. Love you. Catch you in the next one. Bye.